This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com with Clint Scott and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Great to have you with us this morning, day after Thanksgiving. It is Black Friday, and we've got plenty of sports going on if you don't want to get out amongst them. We have Texas Tech football tonight. The kick's at 6:30. We'll have Texas Tech basketball this afternoon. The tip is at 4. And then tonight, Lady Raider basketball as they take on Rutgers, team that's 3-3. Ladies are 5-0. That'll be at 6:30 for the tip time, 6 o'clock. For coverage from the South Point Casino, and we'll have that for you on 107.7 Yes FM. Clint, big Black Friday shopper, or yes or no?
Not really. I will say I have enjoyed that you have, Black Friday, quote unquote, Black Friday deals starting like 2 weeks out online. So I will partake in those. Doesn't it? I would say for me it makes it better because, there's a few things that I need to be in store to get, like clothes or things like that, because I don't want to have to deal with you order it and then it comes in and then it doesn't fit and send it back or whatever. But I've never been I'm going to plant my face into the glass until this store opens. I'm going to cold cock someone for a TV, anything like that. So I kind of enjoy that you have the online deals if you want to take part.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the news video of the Walmart shoppers who have gotten all stoked up on their Thanksgiving and then get out there and put their they're edging out some grandma or 5-year-old for the select toy of the year. But the thrill of the hunt. Now usually on this Black Friday when I was on my way to work, I'd notice a little extra traffic,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's, around the mall or various shopping centers or things like that. I think we've kind of killed the golden goose of Black Friday because of, like you said, the advance of sales and people trying to get out further and further. Pretty soon we're going to have Black Friday on Memorial Day weekend. It's just Black Friday deals start today.
We're going to be like 4th of July, just finishing up fireworks, right. And what are they talking about? Black Friday. Hey, 15% off. All right.
I mean, it doesn't crack me up. It disappoints me when we hear, for your Memorial Day celebration. Well, okay, let's think about that. Okay, yeah. Let's think about what we're celebrating here. Right. Okay, it's a little bit different celebration. We get this from the Yates Flooring Center chat line, and I was going to bring this up. It's off the Double T 97.3 mobile app presented by Happy State Bank. The real winner so far is the Going Band. Man, I'll tell you what, that was some kind of performance over the last few days in New York City, whether it was the Today Show takeover or, the pep rally in Times Square where they shut down Times Square, to the precision marching and sound of that band yesterday. I mean, that was like you want to see your team perform in a national championship game of whatever the sport is. I mean, it's like precision, straight lines, nobody, no turnovers, no trumpet, tripping on a manhole cover. I mean, uniforms were crisp. Everybody's shoulders were back. Their heads were up. And I think that what you saw yesterday is going to be one of the most impactful days on Texas Tech University because of the worldwide audience and exposure that Going Band from Raiderland brought to this university yesterday. I thought it was just an epic proposal.
Yeah, and
performance.
And I don't know about you, Chuck, but going into it, I didn't realize how many extra things you'd get, like the Today Show and stuff like that, for where it wouldn't just be like, hey, here. And I've never, and this is more for me, I've never been a parade guy on Thanksgiving. Like if it's on, I'm not gonna run in there and yell at everybody to change the channel. But that hasn't been for me. I didn't realize whenever they were going to this that you would have so much isolated time where they were a feature focus. And yeah, it was awesome to see. And you're right, they nailed it. Everyone, had 2 shoes on that was supposed to have 2 shoes. No one looked disheveled or anything. But yeah, it was awesome to see.
No dishevelment, and they had to get up early, to go to that. But I think part of that is people at Texas Tech and people that had connections with people with inside of different things, getting you extra stuff. I don't think that just happens. I think that was one of those deals where you had an awful lot of people that are working their absolute tails off to make that all happen. As far as that's concerned, but like I said, I thought it was a great performance. I think they acquitted themselves extremely well, and those kids don't get a whole lot of publicity, and I just felt like they nailed the performance yesterday, without question. So if you want to share some thoughts on that, go right ahead. All right, from the Yates Flooring Center chat line, Coach Joey, if he's listening this morning in Austin, we are behind y'all 100%. Let's go beat the most hated opponent of Red Raider Nation. In your mind, is Texas the most hated opponent, or is it somebody else? Yeah,
I think it's Texas. I'm curious because I think you'll see them in other sports. I clearly would like to see them in football again, but I'm with you. At least as far as I'm not trying to read any tea leaves or do some sort of like way down the line prediction, but at least as like a non-conference opponent, you'll never see Texas in football again. Who knows what happens in 20 years from now in the ever-shifting landscape of college football and conferences and stuff like that. But I think as it stands right now, and especially we'll see with what happens with the Texas A&M coaching opening, you're more likely to see A&M in football again before you see Texas after today. And that's more to say if it is Jeff Traylor with the standing relationship with McGuire, because I think that they both would like to play that game, and maybe it's not something that happens every year, but I could see if that's the way that A&M goes, that you could see them in a non-conference setting. But
I think that decision's made way above the heads of the head coaches.
Sure.
I think that's a TV decision. And I'll just say this: if we're not playing A&M or Texas home and home, I'm not interested. I'm not interested at Jerry's place. I'm not interested in Houston. I'm not interested. I am not interested. Count me uninterested. If that game is played, and I would just prefer, if we can't do it right, then I'd prefer we not do it at all. That's just it.
And I'm not trying to suggest even that's like go ahead and lock it in by any means, but I think that's more likely to happen than seeing Texas. And so I'm curious, the farther out like today's game is when we go down, I think that hate level will stay the same, if not grow even worse, because every time you see that logo, you'll think now, instead of having the opportunity to play them, that's the Texas that tried to destroy the Big 12. That's the Texas that ran away. However you view it, I think that hate will grow more and more. So I mean, they're the most hated.
Yeah, and I also think though that the arrogance there, all the things that come with it, and the fact that when you beat them, they'll say, "Oh, it's really not a rivalry," and then we've proven time and time again. Well, not time and time again, a handful of times that you can beat them. I mean, it's not like it's happened all the time. In fact, the last time you beat them back to back was 1997 to 1998. You won in 97 down in Austin, 24-10, and then came back here in Lubbock and won in 1998, 42-35. And oh, by the way, that was before Mike Leach was the head football coach. and then you also won back-to-back in 1993 and 1994. You won away and you won at home. So this would be the first time in the history of this series that you would go back-to-back, winning at home first and then away down there.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
All right, we'll have Red Raider basketball for you on the air this afternoon. Pre-games at 4 o'clock, tips at 5. They'll take on Michigan. Michigan a winner over Stanford yesterday in the battle for Atlantis, 83-78. Tonight in Las Vegas, Lady Raiders take on Rutgers. That'll be an 8 o'clock airtime, 8:30 tip time from South Point Casino, where they have a lot of rodeos and stuff like that. So the arena is kind of down in a pit. That all starts earlier today. They'll play Northern Iowa and Syracuse, tip it all off at 1 o'clock, and Tech's opponent tomorrow, Santa Clara, plays immediately before them at 6. They take on Boise State. Today, it's interesting, Clint, this Tech-Texas football game. Texas cannot clinch a berth in the Big 12 title game, as I've read it, with a victory. They need just a little bit of help, but we could have some real chaos in the standings. Would you be a fan of that?
Yeah, I would be a fan of chaos, especially if that chaos led to Texas not being in. And because the ones you're looking at are Oklahoma State, Kansas State, and Oklahoma. If I could, and this is just the discussion of, you can't have, Texas and Oklahoma. That would just be terrible in the Big 12 championship. I agree. If I could, I would make the trade of, you have to have one, I would make the trade of Oklahoma for Texas. I don't know why. The disdain for Oklahoma isn't there, at least for the same reasons that it is for Texas. I think you're headed for Texas versus Oklahoma State right now, unless Oklahoma State pulls what they did against UCF, as far as what I understand it. But as far as the most likely scenario, but I would be in for some chaos if that chaos, helped Texas stay out. But I'm generally that way too. Like you go to the final week of the NFL and you're looking at, so-and-so needs help to get into the wild card spot, and there's 4 different teams that could get that last spot. I love anarchy in sports. So I'm all in for a conference that's already chaotic anyways.
Yeah, so we could see a little of that. We could see a little chaos. Today, Oklahoma, the 13th ranked team in the country, will play TCU. That's an 11 o'clock kick. Oklahoma's favored by 9.5, and we'll have that game for you on 100.7 The Score. Well, we haven't gotten to the Cowboys yet, but that was a pretty good performance I think it was a great performance for the Cowboys as they took down the Washington Commanders 45-10. You could say, oh, well, it's Washington. Well, you could say, well, at least we're not the Packers, and the Lions, where, Detroit goes kind of falls asleep on the couch there before waking up and then going, oh my God, we're going to lose this game. And then, trying to make a comeback, and Packers trying to, let them have it a little bit, but Packers win the ball game 29-22. But Cowboys are doing right now what they're supposed to be doing, and that's winning and beating their team, and Dak with a turkey leg performance yesterday.
And I think, part of it is, at least in the back of my mind, you're going over this stretch as you see them beat some bad teams, okay, well, can you do this against the better teams whenever you're playing, late in December and you're playing important games in the playoffs? And I totally get that. But at the same time, the product you have on the field, from the consumer standpoint, is incredibly fun to watch. I think the Deron Bland story is outstanding, especially when you couple it on a year that you pay Trayvon Diggs and then lose him, who's a focal point for your defense and for your secondary, and then you have Deron Bland, who sets an NFL single-season record. And I have a scouting report. Stop throwing it on the outside when he's in isolated coverage, because he's pretty good at taking that the other direction.
Right, and he's elusive too.
Yeah.
How about the acquisition of Brandon Cooks? That's proved to be pretty good too, hasn't it? I mean, 4 receptions, 72 yards, caught a touchdown last night.
Yeah, and I think he's gotten better the more that he's played on the roster and got going deeper in the season. It was to me, with how you got him, it was a fairly low risk, good reward type acquisition, and he's been a guy that, even though he's dealt with some injuries and he's getting older, he's been productive everywhere he's been, and that's what you needed, is some production. And I think if you keep growing with him, it's been good, and it could hopefully get better.
Tony Pollard with 13 carries for 79 yards yesterday, and then CeeDee Lamb, he had 4 receptions for 53 yards and a touchdown. His longest was 16. He was targeted the most times yesterday with 9 targets. So Cowboys now get a little idle time, but they're 8-3 on the season, and they're probably not going to win their division unless Philadelphia just stumbles. But they look really good. But next up for the Cowboys will be Seattle, and it was not a very good day for Seattle yesterday, taking on the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, no, it was not. And there you have that one as the late game. But the 49ers, they go through that little 3-game spurt where they were dealing with some injuries, and Brock Purdy isn't as good as we thought. All of those conversations, and then they've responded and look back like an NFC contender.
Brock Purdy was 21 of 30, 209 yards, threw a touchdown, and threw an interception. Christian McCaffrey, an outstanding day for him. 19 totes, 114 yards. So that's your next opponent as far as the Cowboys are concerned. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line this morning. Go to doublet973.com for that, or the mobile app. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. Somebody says this: it's nice to hear father and son duo this morning. Do you take offense to that?
It's starting to wear me down, Chuck. It keeps on getting thrown at me. I'm just starting to get numb to it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry you get the guilt by association, right? Guilt by association.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Hey, good morning. It is 7:15 this morning here on the Morning Drive, as we look forward to hearing from you today on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. It is a Football Friday presented by Abundance Energy, with Clint Scott is in for Jamie this morning, and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz, and want to get your score predictions today on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app. It's presented by Happy State Bank. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. We'll have Optimum Game Day Live coverage this afternoon as we get you ready for Texas Tech and Texas. Also on the docket today, Red Raider basketball. They play down in the Bahamas. They'll take on Michigan. Coverage at 4, tip at 5. And then tonight in Las Vegas, it'll be Texas Tech and Rutgers. Lady Raiders are 5-0, taking on a 3-3 Rutgers team. We'll have that for you at 8, and play-by-play tonight at 8:30 from the South Point Casino and their arena that is located here in Las Vegas. That Michigan opponent tonight, Clint, or this afternoon, that could be a real resume builder for this Red Raider basketball team.
Yeah, I think so. That's a Michigan team that they won't win the Big Ten this year, but they will be competitive in it. And they lost a couple guys to the draft. Of course, they had their biggest piece with Hunter Dickinson goes to Kansas. But they can score it, and that's a really good Michigan program. And you look at your opponents that you've played so far in the battle for Atlantis, and then Michigan, it feels like they are, to me, right smack dab in the middle, like where you have Villanova, clearly the best team that you've played, and then UNI. I mean, I think you had a very bad first half, and North Carolina was saying the same thing, and of course beats UNI by a lot more than what you did. But I think Michigan is also a good measuring stick game. Like how can you show me the steps with how you've gotten better so far? Because I think if you put up the same top to bottom performance, you'll lose to Michigan today. But I think that's you're right, it's a very good resume builder, especially when we look back at, RPI and net rankings and all those fun things we start to do whenever you're getting closer to tournament time. So, and this is why you're in this. We're excited to go to a Feast Week tournament like this, is to see an opponent like Michigan.
Yeah. I mean, you've played all the A&M schools that you can, not named A&M, even A&M in the exhibition. I jokingly said on Wednesday, it's not like we're playing A&M Georgetown, and some guy texts in and is like, well, there is an A&M Georgetown. Like, who knew? So,
is there a Texas A&M Oral Roberts? Because
no.
Texas A&M Omaha.
That might be your hardest game at home coming up, the Oral Roberts game, and then. Next week they'll go right back out to Indianapolis and play Butler at Hinkle Fieldhouse. So that should be a fun contest to take in. Just the historical aspect of playing at Hinkle, and then Butler, a team that proved that they can get to Final Fours and did it in back-to-back years, and damn near beat Duke on a half-court shot there at the buzzer when everybody thought the game was over.
Oh man!
So it's crazy.
Yeah,
I really wish that had gone in, because that would have been the ultimate buzzer beater, right? But then, how do you top that, right? So
right.
I guess we still have that to look forward to. How much does Quinn Ewers concern you tonight for Texas and their quarterback situation? Ewers on the season has only thrown 4 interceptions. He's 196 with 279, 2,513 yards, 16 touchdowns, and just four interceptions.
Ewers has had a really good year. He still hasn't been the advertised, this is a first round draft guy, and I think that has played a big part of why he's announced that he's staying for another year. Doesn't look like the quarterback draft class will be as deep next year. At least that's what the projection is. It's not that I'm trying to actively disrespect him when I say this, but I'm more worried about the skill guys, because I think Quinn at his worst this year has been serviceable, and at his best has been just a very effective Big 12 quarterback. And you're also in a down year in the Big 12 quarterback wise, and so I look at more of, hey, how do you tackle an open space? Whenever they're doing short routes, whenever they're trying to just get their guys in those one-on-one opportunities, how are you tackling in the flats? Because you look at, and this is supposed to be a compliment of what his game has been this year, is he hasn't done too much because he hasn't needed to. And I think he's done a lot better job this year of taking the open play, taking what's given to him. Because, you go through and look at the numbers and you go, wow, he's had a really effective year, but it hasn't been him just dropping back and going out and just winning a bunch of games off of his arm and just throwing a bunch of deep balls and all of these massive touchdowns in that regard. But he's taken advantage of the talent that Texas has. So my question is, can you put him in that spot where he has to go win the game and he has to go, we have to have something beyond the sticks, because that's where maybe he can get into a little bit of trouble. But you're right, the numbers have been so much better this year than what they were last year. And that's what kind of stands out to me, is what can you do against the skill guys that he's throwing to?
And so the skill guys, Xavier Worthy, 63 catches, 834 yards, 4 touchdowns. And then Adonai Mitchell, 43 for 669, but he has 9 touchdowns. Both these guys are big play explosive, candidates. But when you look at it, they have 238 receptions as a team, and those guys have 106 combined between the two of them. So Jordan Whittington is also a guy that's going to potentially cause a problem. 30 for 346 and a touchdown. But I think your defensive backs have acquitted themselves extremely well. Obviously, Dadrian Taylor Demerson might be your defensive MVP.
Yeah.
And And then what the linebackers have done with Ben Roberts playing in place of Jacob Rodriguez, I mean, they've been pretty good. But tonight you're not going to have Jacob Rodriguez because he's going to sit so that he can retain his red shirt. And this might be one of those deals where, 2 years from now or 3 years from now, you go, boy, sure, it's nice to have Jacob Rodriguez still playing for us. And remember in 2023 where he didn't play in the Texas game, you got beat that day, but as a result, you didn't burn a year for Jacob Rodriguez, and he's here this year, and he's leading the charge to fill in the blank kind of success.
Yeah, and I would get I get both sides of it where you may go, okay, yeah, but this is Texas. This is the last time. Don't you want to put your best foot forward? But I'm in for the long haul decision because Jacob Rodriguez has shown you. I mean, he can be your quarterback of the defense, and he's such a terrific player. I'm in for getting more games out of him by missing an important game.
You miss one game. I mean, look, if you're playing for a Big 12 championship or you're playing for the opportunity to get into a college football playoff, but you're 6-5 and you have a chance to elevate your bowl game just a little bit, but man, not at the expense of hurting yourself down the line. And who knows, he may be a guy that after another year or two goes and says, you know what, I've done all I can do here. But just the mere fact that there's a possibility that you could have him, an additional year, I think is well worth it. They're a different team as we go to break. We'll get your thoughts on Jonathan Brooks and not being a part of this game and the injury to him and the impact on that for Texas. But next, it's Jamie's question of the day, given to us by somebody not named Jamie because he's not here today.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
All right.
Who's the not named Jamie person that is going to give us the question of the day?
I have it for you today, Chuck, and Jeff, and our fine listening audience. And in replacement of Jamie, I'm going to do a classic Jamie two-parter here for you. So if I'm gonna, fill the shoes, I gotta go all the way.
No mocking now. No mocking.
No. That is in a loving way to say that, because I do love the two-parters as well. This is first one is a yes or no, and then the second one will depend where you go from that. So if you were to beat Texas today, would this be the signature win for Joey McGuire thus far? And here's your second part. If so, what would it take to replace it in the future?
Well, I think it is, just because it's the last time you're going to play them. It potentially could, really hurt their college football chances. It would knock them out of that for the college football playoff, and you would have last bragging rights. So, and what it would take to get to the future. This is probably going to sound pretty lofty, but I think winning a Big 12 championship would then replace this win. Jeff?
Yeah, I agree with Chuck that this would be the signature win for Joey McGuire, should they be able to pull that off tonight in Austin. And it would take something like a Big 12 championship game or a New Year's Six bowl win, something along those lines to pass it, not just because of, you've got Texas, it's on the road, it's the last time you're going to play them, and all of that factors into it. But it's also, for this season, when you look at it in a microscopic way, if you get the win today, we were all picking 8-4 at the beginning of the year. We were picking 9-3 at the beginning of the year. Some people were going 11-1, but the 7-5 feels a whole lot better than 6-6. And that adds to what you did last year as well. Not to mention, you factor in the fact that Joey McGuire never lost to Texas while he was the coach at Texas Tech. So, those are some big key things that you got to achieve over a win like today for the Red Raiders, should they get it.
Yeah, I think there's two different ways to say yes to the first question for me, because one, you can go the this is the last time you're going to see them. The rival aspect, I want to give them a nice, kick in the hind end on the way out. Don't let the doors hit you. And the hopefully, winning and then keeping them out of the college football playoff. There's that angle. And then the other side is I think this is the best team you will have played under Joey McGuire, top to bottom, and it's on the road, and it's a focus Texas because you can go into they do have those aspirations of a Big 12 championship and a college football playoff berth. And I know we've talked about it through our various shows earlier in the week, but I mean, we all remember, and so do they, the Your Mark comments. They're still pulling off of the promotional video at the end of last year's win. So they're going to be focused. And so even just from that angle, I think it would be a signature win. But then you combine it all together. And for me, I don't see how it wouldn't be. And I agree. I think to knock it off, I think it would be a Big 12 championship win. Like not a win to get you into the Big 12 championship, but a Big 12 championship win.
Hey, what do you really think? Do you really think that the Texas guys care that much about Your Mark's comments? Because there's a part of me that thinks, okay, if Steve Sarkisian were to play those comments before the game today, or if he plays them in his film sessions, it's almost like acknowledging Texas Tech, because they've in a way they've gone out of their way to say we're not a rival, but and then you kind of look at some of the numbers over the test of time, and I mean, to be a rival, you've got to be almost winning 50 or 40 or 30% of the time, and it's hard to say that. So do you think that they even think about that or talk about that internally as a team?
I don't know if it's like an active discussion and they've like printed out those words of Your Mark and put them in their locker room and they slap it every time they go onto the field or anything like that.
Right.
But I mean,
play like a champion today.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't see how that's not at least in the back of their minds. I mean, last week you had an Iowa State offensive lineman say kind of an in passing quote, and as much as they don't want to give you credit, they at least have more history with you than Iowa State, and then afterwards they let it be known and reminded them of that. So if they're going to remind an Iowa State offensive lineman after a win, I mean, with as much as this has been built up from a season's worth of time, that may not be part of Sarkisian's pregame speech before they go to the field. Like, remember Your Mark, what he said. But I mean, I have a hard time believing that they're not aware of that still, to some degree.
This from David. House money, UT has everything to lose. Tech needs to play fun and lose. Repeat of 02 and 08. And Chuck, all the UT writers are blowing it up. No, I understand that. I'm just talking about does Texas really think of it like that? Paul gives us this prediction. This is Sour Paul this morning, 38-13. But I mean, it's fair. It's fair. I don't know that you're going to get blown out by 25. You could. I mean, if you give up the football, I mean, if you throw a bunch of interceptions or can't hang on to it, then yeah, you could. Or if those receivers slip behind your guys and come up with some explosive plays. But man, maybe a special teams play happens tonight, because the extra point by Duda Banks that was blocked in the UCF win marked the 7th blocked kick in just 24 games for the Joey McGuire era and special teams coordinator Kenny Perry. That is beyond luck. That is definitely scheme and emphasis right there when you have 7 in 24 games. 7:40 this morning on the Morning Drive on Lubbock Sports Station Double T 97.3.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Hey, good morning and welcome to the Morning Drive, hour 3 of 3 with Clint Scott is in for Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Great to have you with us. We come to you from the First United Bank studios in our various locales. This is a Football Friday. It's presented by Abundance energy. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that, or the mobile app. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too, 806-771-0973. There's high school football, obviously still going on in the state of Texas, and you have Estacado in action today. The Matadors, who are 10-2, will play in Class 4A Division I action against Decatur. They are 8-4. This will come to you from Abilene Shotwell Stadium at 1 o'clock today. Estacado coming off of a win over Canyon, 42-11. Also in playoff football today, you will have Wall taking on Roosevelt. That's Class 3A Division II. That'll be at 5 o'clock in Sweetwater. And then Idalou at 8-4 plays Canadian. They're 12-0. That'll be at Dick Bivens today at 2 o'clock. The Wall-Roosevelt game is at 5 in Sweetwater, as I mentioned. Also in action today, New Deal meets Stratford. New Deal's 9-3. Stratford's 12-0. That'll be at Dick Bivens tonight at 6 o'clock, and that's Class 2A play. In Class 2A Division II play, it'll be Borden County taking on Westbrook, and that'll be at 2 o'clock in Sweetwater. Clint, how far did your high school football team get in the playoffs?
I think in my
in your time
in my time we made the playoffs 1 year, and it was a quick hi bye. It was a quick thanks for showing up.
Okay, well, at least you can say that you were there, right?
Yeah. We were certainly there. We certainly got on the bus, and we certainly were on the field and warmed up and did all that stuff.
Did you contribute to the losing cause?
No, I did not. I was my part did not make or break the game.
Okay. Let's see. Let's take a look at some keys for the ball game today. Tech and Texas Optimum Game Day live coverage begins at 2:30. Play-by-play at 6:30. After the game, it's the Double T 97.3 Coors Light post-game show with Garrett Luft. Last Saturday, Clint, Dr. Luft joined me for a Coors Light at the Overton Hotel and Conference Center.
How about that?
He partook with me in a Coors Light while we were doing our fine post-game analysis. So, will he be drowning in Coors Light, or will he be drinking in glee? And what does a drinking in glee look like tonight?
I think
you got to do
a drinking in glee is finding a way to win any way that you can. My guess is it would be more beneficial for you to have this as a slower paced, slug it out type of game. I like to call it uglifying games, Chuck. I mean, you just can't have quick offensive possessions that get you nothing, and then set your defense up for failure. I just don't think you can have that today. And talking about from the question of the day, where I think that this is far and away the best team you'll have played over the past 2 seasons. You have to play near perfect on offense. And that doesn't mean score on every single possession, but you can't have turnovers. You can't have, silly penalties that maybe take away first downs, and you can't just have a whole bunch of 3-and-outs. Otherwise, you'll get beat, and it could get ugly today. Because if someone was going to blow the other one out, Texas will blow you out at home. And that's if you give them the opportunity to. I don't expect that. I don't think it'll be a blowout. But I think if you don't help yourself out offensively, then you are asking for Texas to run you off the field.
Baron Morton going into the ball game 136-214, 4 interceptions. All games that he has started and finished, he has won. Will he start and finish this game today?
I think he will. I think he will. I think he will, as I said that with a question mark at the end.
Yeah, I know. I think he will.
I think he will. Yeah. I'm Ron Burgundy. Yeah, I think he will. And I'm certainly hoping he will because, I mean, we've all seen what the drop-off is after that. And as bad as that was against Kansas State in the second half and then in its entirety against BYU, it'd be like, I mean, throwing scraps to the Lions today.
How special does Morton have to be, or is it more about your offensive line and opening up holes for Taj Brooks and Taj being somewhat special today?
Yeah, see that's the question. I think you're going to have to see some special plays from Baron Morton. I don't think he needs to throw for 400 yards or anything like that, because Taj Brooks, as good as he's been, today's the test because that defensive line is no joke. And if someone was going to bottle up Taj Brooks, it would be this Texas defense. So I think you're looking at a game where you're going to need a handful of plays from Baron Morton, whether it's a big first down or, converting in a red zone and walking away with 7 instead of 3 or none if you go for it on fourth down. I think he's got to be special at certain times today. Like he's got to step up and make those plays. And this isn't just on him, by the way. This is to the receiver room as well. And because, someone's got to catch it, right?
Yeah.
When you throw it.
I feel like that from a receiving standpoint today, that one of my keys to the game was someone needs to step up.
Yeah.
I don't care who it is. I mean, anybody, willing, step it up and see what you can do to either get off the line or create some circus type catches or things like that. I think somebody's got to step up. And I think somebody's got to be special today as well for the Red Raiders. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll get to this in just a minute. I hope the defensive line for Texas doesn't tear Morton's head off. Right. All right. Yes, no question before we go to break. So you think this Texas team is better than Oregon?
Yes, okay. I do.
All right.
I do.
All right. 8:10 this morning on Lubbock Sports Station. What do you think? What's your score prediction? If you've been out shopping and captured something cool, let us know on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. It is 8:10 this morning on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and DoubleT973.com.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at DoubleT973.com.